TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, at least 44 Israelis were killed and over 100 others were injured during Lag BaOmer festivities commemorated by the ultra-Orthodox sector in Israel. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas announces his decision to postpone planned parliamentary elections for the Palestinian Authority. The U.S. State Department highlights close consultations with Israel over Iran. At least 44 Israelis were killed and over 100 others were injured last night when a multitude of tens of thousands of the ultra-Orthodox sector thronged the tomb of 2nd century sage rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai on Mount Meron for their annual Lag BaOmer commemorations, which include all-night mystical rituals from Kabbalistic traditions detached from biblical scripture. The deadly incident occurred when a throng of ultra-Orthodox faithful, determined to secure a coveted place at the main events on Mount Meron, in defiance of COVID-related warnings by health officials, started trampling one another on a relatively narrow, slow passageway.
אני הייתי שם בדיוק ברגעים כשזה קרה למטה, בצד, וזה התחיל מכמה כוננים שרצו, ואז היה סוג של אנדרלמוסיה, שוטרים, צרחות, בלגן. וזה היה נראה משהו כמו אחרי חצי שעה, כמו זירת פיגוע של התאבדות או משהו כזה, אנשים בלי סוף יצאו משם על מיטות.
Under impossible conditions to extract the injured, including children, from the overcrowded mountain, the IDF's Elite 669 Rescue Airborne Unit was called in to assist struggling police forces in rescue efforts. However, the consequences of the incident were devastating.
We received information about a lot of injuries. We went to the ground zero. The injuries start to come, and we start the first aid. Unfortunately, at the end, we have 44 deaths and above 100 injuries in different severity.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who toured the place where the deadly incident occurred, labeled it to be one of the worst disasters to hit the state of Israel in its 73-year history.
אסון הר מירון הוא מן האסונות הכבדים ביותר שפקדו את מדינת ישראל. אנחנו דואבים על הנספים, ליבנו עם המשפחות וגם עם הפצועים שאנחנו מייחלים להחלמתם המלאה. היו פה מראות קורעי לב, אנשים שנמחצו אל המוות, כולל ילדים. חלק גדול מהנספים עדיין לא זוהה, ואני מבקש להימנע מהפצת שמועות ברשתות החברתיות, כי הדבר הזה קורע את לב המשפחות. תנו לרשויות לעבוד. אני חייב גם לציין שהייתה פה פעולת חילוץ מהירה של המשטרה וכוחות החילוץ והביטחון, ואנחנו אסירי תודה להם, הם מנעו אסון גדול בהרבה. אנחנו נערוך בדיקה יסודית, רצינית ומעמיקה, כדי להבטיח שאסון כזה לא יישנה.
Turning to the West Bank city of Ramallah, where Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas announced his decision to postpone planned parliamentary elections for the Palestinian Authority, citing an ongoing dispute over voting in Jerusalem as the principal reason.
أمام هذا الوضع الصعب قررنا تأجيل موعد إجراء الانتخابات التشريعية لحين ضمان مشاركة القدس وأهلها في هذه الانتخابات، فلا تنازل عن القدس ولا تنازل عن حق شعبنا في القدس في ممارسة حقه الديمقراطي.
It is important to highlight that the Islamist Hamas organization, in light of deep-rooted divisions within Abbas's Fatah faction, was expected, according to a number of polls, to secure a victory in the postponed elections, which would have further diminished the legitimacy of the Western-backed Palestinian leadership in Ramallah. Consequently, the Palestinian leadership in the West Bank took advantage of the dispute with Israel over the scope of participation by Arab residents of East Jerusalem to justify its decision to delay the looming elections to an unspecified date further claiming that extensive efforts, including by means of international channels, could not convince Israel to alter its position.
بذلنا جهودا كبيرة مع المجتمع الدولي من أجل إلزام دولة الاحتلال بعقدها في القدس، ولكن هذه المساعي قبلت بالرفض حتى الآن. يعني بعد ساعة يوافقوا، إحنا ما فيش عنا مانع.
The European Union responded to the Palestinian president's decision this morning by voicing its disappointment. Nevertheless, in light of the real reason behind the delay, EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell seemingly watered down his statement by merely calling on Israel, quote, to facilitate the holding of credible, inclusive, and transparent elections across all of the Palestinian territory, including in East Jerusalem. Similarly, at a U.S. State Department briefing, evasive comments by spokesperson Ned Price shed further light on the ordeal.
If the Palestinian leadership decides it wants to hold elections in Jerusalem, they should be allowed, it should happen, is what you're saying, or no?
It is a matter for the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian people to decide.
And if they want it, they should have it.
It's not up to the Israelis.
Yeah.
It is a matter for the Palestinian people and leadership to decide on the exercise of democratic elections.
And Israel should not interfere.
It is a matter for the Palestinian people and leadership. Yes.
Separately, the State Department spokesperson was also asked about a reported meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and visiting Mossad chief Yossi Cohen, which reportedly focused on the indirect talks between Iran and the United States in Vienna. While stopping short from confirming whether the meeting had indeed taken place, Price highlighted previously acknowledged information that Washington and Jerusalem maintain close consultations on all that relates to the Iran nuclear file.
We have, as you heard from State Department officials, updated our Israeli counterparts before every round of negotiations, after every round of negotiations, and we've been consulting with them during these negotiations as well. So we have conducted ourselves with a great deal of transparency, knowing that the United States and Israel share a common interest here, of course, and that is seen to it, again, as I said before, that Iran is verifiably and permanently prevented from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
Price further confirmed that a senior security delegation was traveling to the Middle East to discuss important matters related to U.S. national security, yet insisted that it is not necessarily focused on the ongoing indirect talks between the United States and Iran in Vienna.
Senior interagency delegation will be traveling over the coming week to discuss a number of important matters related to U.S. national security and ongoing efforts to de-escalate tensions in the Middle East. I suppose I would hasten to add that this delegation is not focused on any one issue, certainly not focused just on Iran and anything that may emanate from the ongoing discussions in Vienna.
Regarding the talks in Vienna, the State Department spokesman noted that while talks have been constructive, a long way remains ahead.
We are now in the third round of what promises to be a multi-round exercise. It continues to be a venue that where we've been able to engage indirectly with the Iranian delegation in largely thoughtful, business-like, constructive dialogue, but there is still a great distance to travel. And what we have said before about having more road ahead of us than road behind us remains accurate.
Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join myself and the team here in Jerusalem to lift up Ireland in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom U'Mevurach, and we will see you again on Monday at the same time.